Howdy, Halo fans. Vince the Angels Cowboy here. Welcome to another episode of the H.I.T.I Halo Hot Take Hoedown. With me, as always, Fernando, the Lone Star Halo. He will be coming up soon. Today, we're going to be talking about a certain pitcher that we believe is going to have one of the best months despite his April struggles. All that coming right up.
Texas plains, hot takes flying right off the reins. Lone Star Halo Cowboy Vince, calling it bold, never on the fence. Hold down time, turn it up loud. Hot takes are ringing, drawing a crowd. No matter how wild, no matter how strange, ain't no limit on the takes we say.
All right, how about that? What a weekend that has been going on. Some Halo fans got to experience a rough weekend, while others got to experience Stagecoach, and I happen to be one of them. So a little positivity coming out of the weekend, but at the same time, the Angels are now in the valley of the peaks and valleys that we have been experiencing for the last, maybe 10 years. So, yeah, well, Fernando, what do you got to say?
Well, for starters, I have a lot of friends apparently that were at Stagecoach. I mean, I want to say probably close to like 10, and they're like different pockets of people. So I have a cousin that went to Coachella like 2 weekends ago. So clearly Stagecoach is more popular, at least in the circle of people I have. So I don't know, go figure. But how was Stagecoach?
It was amazing. And what surprised me really quick is how many Angel jerseys I actually ran into. So to explain the situation, Stagecoach every single year has a theme on Friday. Last year, my first year there in 2024, the theme was flames. So a lot of people had like flame shirts, flame dresses, flame this, flame that, just flames in general. This year, the Friday theme was jerseys. It could be anything: football jerseys, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, rarely hockey jerseys, but it makes sense because you don't want to wear long sleeves. I think I only saw like maybe one, but I could be wrong there. But I did see a handful of baseball jerseys. The most popular ones were, of course, the Angels and the Dodgers. And I was really surprised to see Angels, but at the same time I wasn't, because Orange County does have a big country music following, and therefore they made their way to Stagecoach. And I was so tempted to rock my own shirt. I had the sense to, but I figured it's too hot to be wearing this T-shirt, and I didn't want a lot of sweat stains on my shirt. So I figured I'll just stick with the classic button-up that I usually wear and breathe a little bit, unbutton a little bit, and it was a fun experience, as always. In fact, I actually got spoiled this year because the weather never reached 90 degrees. It was 84 the first night or first afternoon. It was dropped down to 78, I believe, on Saturday, and then it dropped to 74 in the daytime on Sunday, which was kind of a bummer because the first day I didn't have a jacket, so I was kind of freezing the first day. And I should have known better, because in the desert, when the sun hits hits Mount San Jacinto out in Palm Springs and the valley, it drops down 30 degrees. So I should have known better. But other than that, it was great seeing Zach Bryan, Jelly Roll, and Luke Combs were the main headliners. There was also names like Midland, Scotty McCreery, Carly Pierce, Tracy Lawrence, and to probably shock a lot of people, Nelly. So I got a chance to see Nelly, St. Louis's own, on one of the side stages, and that was an experience and a half for sure. If anybody out there knows about Stagecoach, wants to give it a try, go for it. It does take a toll on your feet and your legs, because especially if you wear boots, but it is worth it. So at the end of the day, so yeah, your feet are going to be sore, but it's all worthwhile.
I think I knew maybe like 4 or 5 of those people you brought up. I mean, hey, country music is very popular out here in Texas. Now, I will say this. Obviously, I told you guys last week that I was in California. I'm back in Texas now. But when I was out there, I went to Petco Park on Friday night to watch the Angels, to watch the Padres lose to the Tampa Bay Rays at home. And afterward, we went with some friends to Moonshine Flats. They are, to say that they are regulars is a bit of an understatement. They are so much so regulars that the line was like massive, and they just kind of name dropped themselves and got to the front of the line. We all just got to the front, didn't even have to wait in line. So that's how you know you're a regular at a bar. If you just show up and they're like, "Oh, hey, you guys come on in." So yeah, I had nothing to do with that. I was just there. So my friend said, "Hey, let's go there," and I said, "Great." So certainly not the honky tonkin they got out here in Fort Worth, but
every place.
It was a pretty good time.
Every place is different. I mean, I've met people from Texas and they've come out here to California. I've gone to some of our local bars, and they say it's a lot different experience. Different dances, different atmosphere, different this, different that. But that's on my bucket list. I do want to go to Texas at some point and see how it is out there. I mean, I am an avid line dancer. I go every week. That's my cardio for the week every single time. So, and I want to give it a try out there. There's a place in, I think it's in Fort Worth. It's called Billy Bob's. That's a pretty poppin' spot out there. I think there's a couple places in Houston too that are also pretty good. And just to get with the locals and whenever I get an opportunity, for sure, I will not only try to catch an Angels versus Rangers or Angels versus Stros, but I will say, hey, I've tried a honky tonk or I've tried a saloon out in Texas. So it's you just got to do it once, especially since you do it religiously on a weekly basis. And I'm looking forward to that day for sure.
Well, there you go. We certainly got our fill in on country music talk. So let's talk a little bit about the Angels and where they currently are. So to say that they've played really a week and a half or so of bad baseball would be a bit of an understatement. Did they win the series against the Giants? Sure. Should they have? That's up for debate, right? And then they had a pretty bad series against the Pirates, nearly getting swept. And then they have proceeded to get swept since, right?
Two in a row. The getting swept by the Twins in Minnesota and just getting swept 2 games against Seattle. And those hurt, especially in the division. And Seattle always has a tendency to beat us regardless of what part of the division they're in. They could be at the top of the division. Obviously, they're going to be the best team. They could be at the bottom of the division. They still find ways to beat us. And it's unfortunate. And even the Twins are kind of that same team too. I mean, the Twins came in. A lot of them were picking them to compete in the Central with the Guardians, but they just haven't shown it this season. And I was really surprised to see that. I thought the Twins could have made a push for the playoffs, or they could be contenders for the first month of the season. But it's September. Everyone has a slow bump. I mean, Dansby Swanson, to quote him, he was asked about the Braves and like their struggles this season, that is, even though he's currently not a Brave, he's with the Cubs, obviously. But he did mention that, look, when we won in 2021, we didn't hit 500 until August. So there are teams out there who go through their struggles for the first month, and then all of a sudden they just peak at the right time. It just happens to be at the tail end of the season. And there's the age-old saying, it's not about if you get hot, it's when, because you can get hot at the beginning of the season and then finish off cold. But there's a lot of teams out there who are notorious for getting cold at the end. The most notorious ones are the Cardinals. The last 2 championships they had in 2011 and 2006, they were not the best team, especially 2006. A lot of people say the argument is the worst World Series team ever in this millennia was the 2006 Cardinals, because they were 11 games under 500 since July 28th or something like that. And teams who win 83 games and teams who are 11 games under 500 to end the season don't win the World Series, let alone make the playoffs. And they did. So, and they ended up winning the World Series because, well, they had a restart. They had a refresh, basically. 2011, the same exact team. They were not the best team, but they also had some help too, not going to lie. They needed the Braves to lose. Some people say, oh, like, well, the Cardinals got hot at the right time. Well, the Braves got cold at the right time too. Because if the Braves were just as hot as the Cardinals, the Braves are the wild card winners of that 2011 season. And who knows? Maybe we talk about the Braves winning the World Series, or maybe we talk about the Phillies because the Phillies were the favorite to win it all that year.
Yeah, baseball is one of the only sports that I can think of where the best team on paper and the best team record-wise hardly ever wins. I mean, I think it's not very controversial to say who's the best team record-wise almost every single year. Well, most of the time it's the blue team up north, right? Most of the time it is the Dodgers on paper that are the best team. They continuously are up there record-wise. And prior to last year, they never won a 162, at least, not in my lifetime. Yeah, they won in the 80s. But they finally got over that hump, right? And before that, if you think about it, it was a lot of wild card teams that were winning. Very seldom did the best team record-wise make a lot of noise. That's kind of been the beauty of baseball.
I agree. And I think the last time we've had a team with the best record win a World Series was, of course, the Dodgers this past season. But let's talk about before that. The Rangers, they were a wild card team. They had to play in that wild card series. The Astros were the number one team. I think they were number two in the entire major leagues. They were number one in the AL, but that was it. I mean, the Braves in 21, they weren't the best team on paper, but as Ron Washington said, hey, we don't have to be the best team all year. We just have to be the best team today. And they were
he's going to be hot at the right time in this sport.
Yeah. And then 2020, lost year. I mean, it's the asterisk years. Everyone's going to call it regardless of who you are, except Dodger fans. But that's another topic. 2019, Nationals, they weren't the best. So I would say the best team to win a championship on paper were the 2018 Red Sox. They were the best team. They won 108 games that season. I think it was 108. And they just steamrolled through that entire postseason. They only lost 3 games, and it was 1 game per series. So that's how like, they were a dominant team. And then 2 years prior, the Cubs were the best team in that. Well, not even the Cubs. I think it was I think it was Cleveland because Cleveland. Oh no, wait, never mind. It was the Cubs, but it started in Cleveland because of the All-Star game situation that we still had. So you're right, Fernando. It just because you're the best, I mean, doesn't mean you're guaranteed. I mean, it's not like basketball and it's not like football where every time the Chiefs are in, oh, they're gonna get in. They're gonna win it all because that's football. Like it's made for number ones to win. Whereas you have basketball, same thing. How many 8s have we had? I think we've only had one number 8 team win, and that was when the Warriors beat the Mavericks back in 2006 or 2007, I believe. And ever since that, we haven't had an 8 win. So. And I think the main reason why baseball does give us that opportunity is because we have those series. You can make the argument hockey too, but hockey does have their fair share of underdogs winning too. The Kings, when they won in 2012 or in the 2012 year, they were the 8 seed. You talk about the Ducks' magical run in 2003. We were a 7 seed. We didn't win, but we got to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And then football is just 1 game, win or go home. So that the best team usually does win, and it's hard for that underdog to take over in football because you lose that game, you're done. Baseball, you lose the first game, you can still regroup and still get more opportunities later on. And it's a sport that humbles you, and it's a sport that helps you and allows you to regroup because you get over it the next day. Football, you got to wait a week. Basketball, you got to wait 2 days. Hockey, you got to wait 2 days. Baseball, bam. Tomorrow, we're back at it.
Yeah, absolutely. They always say you got to have goldfish brain to play baseball, short-term memory, because, you're right back at it. But yeah, with football, you kind of dwell on it for a week, right? I mean, during the regular season and during the playoffs, you get a whole off season to dwell on it because
Hmm.
you're one and done. All these other sports have much, much larger series, right? 7-game series and whatnot. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying there. But yeah, this Angels team is struggling mightily. No, we're not going to break down the previous series. That's not what this show's about. Check out some of the other shows on this network if that's what you're interested in. We are here to talk about the hot take, but I do want to ask your opinion on this. So the Tigers are going to Angel Stadium to face the Angels. So with that being said, this Angels team and the way the offense is scuffling, are you worried about the Detroit Tigers and the brick wall that is their starting rotation? Is it the best starting pitching in baseball at the current moment? No, but they are a very reliable group of guys, especially because we got to face Scooble on Friday.
I am very, very worried, and I don't use very as much, at least more than once. So yeah, because the Tigers were my preseason prediction to win the division because they first off they upset the Astros last year, and when you upset a juggernaut like the Astros, you're going to be a contending team the next season. And on top of that, they have AJ Hinch. Granted, his legacy is tarnished because of the cheating scandal of 2017 with the Astros. But even if you take away the cheating scandal, he was still an effective manager that helped this team compete, or the Astros and the dynasty that they have. And then, so for him to be with this Tigers team, he's kind of in the same situation as what he was in Houston. Because in Houston, when he got hired, he was raising, in a way, like air quotes, he was raising the young prospects that he had. He had Springer, he had Correa, he had Bregman. They were all prospects in their farm system at the time, and he just built them to be the guys that they are today. And the argument of Altuve, but Altuve was a little more seasoned at the time, so he had the veteran presence on his team. So what you have here in with the Tigers, he's kind of in that same situation. Javi Baez is kind of his Altuve with the veteran who has won, or who was one of the at the top of his game in Chicago and then just fell off a little bit. But now he's picking up a little bit. Javi is figuring out his swing, and he's figuring out better pitch selection. I think he's doing more plate discipline work in the cage. I'm hoping he is, because it looks like he is, first off. And then you got the best pitcher in the American League without a doubt in Tarek Skubal, and then you have Mize, who is right there next to him. The Tigers are a scary team for sure, and it's going to be rough for the Angels that they have to face them at this time, because you don't want to face a team when they're hot. And I'm a little worried about how this weekend's going to go. I mean, is it going to be a competitive weekend where they're going to be games that are in by 3 runs or less, or are they going to be blowouts all 4 games? And to make things worse, it is 4 games. It's not a 3-game series. So it's really worrisome. Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be hard to talk about. And I just hope they can squeak one in. But it is going to be tough because the hitting is not where it was at the beginning of April, that the promising years. Maybe, I don't know what it is. The Angels have different approaches now compared to what they had the last month, or pitchers are finally figuring them out and saying, like, look, like, we can pitch to these guys. Just like, I mean, one thing I've noticed is the Angels aren't as aggressive first pitch, and they need to be. They're taking a lot of first pitch strikes. It's like, dude, hop on them. And that's why they're striking out on these sliders and sweepers. I mean, the one that really stood out to me was when Kyron Paris struck out against Joe Ryan, and Joe Ryan has he incorporated a sweeper in his pitches, And man, the way he set up Kyron Paris, like, okay, here, throw one right down the middle. Okay, you know what it is. Well, guess what? Watch this. And it just goes straight right down the middle and then breaks at the last minute. You got to tip your hat to it. I mean, you as a hitter, you think about it like, man, how did I not see that? But at the same time, dude, that's what good pitchers do. Joe Ryan, I think, is one of the most underrated pitchers in the league.
Yeah, I was about to say that he gets disrespected pretty often, and he's never in that conversation for top youngsters.
Well, don't be surprised if he's trade bait come the deadline, because the Twins need to boost up their farm system a little bit. They didn't really do much in last year's trade deadline. Carlos Correa, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the trading block too, because they can dump his contract, and I think there'd be other teams who would want to have an extra bat in their lineup. But Joe Ryan, I think, should be in the mix for trade too, because I don't think he's going to win in Minnesota. I think he needs a new change of scenery. He's going to be in a competitive team. He's from the Bay Area. He's from San Francisco. So maybe the Giants will make a splash and say, hey, like, we'll take him. If they're still in the running for the playoffs come the trade deadline. But but every team works differently, so who knows? And he's also, I think he's still making league minimum right now, so he is cheap when it comes to salary and whatnot on the books. But if he continues to be effective, even if he has a sub 2.5 or a 2.7 ERA, he might sign somewhere. I don't think he's going to get a lot of money, but he might sign like a good maybe 3-year contract with some team who really needs the arm in the near future.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, because I'm not very used to the Twins really selling. So just to go off of your point, it's funny because traditionally the AL Central is such a weak division, right? I mean, before the emergence of the Tigers really out of nowhere last year, the Twins were kind of always the team to beat just by default. So it's just weird to like mentally, like I heard you say that and I couldn't process the fact that you were right, because I was like, it's the Twins. They're going to win the division. They've been winning the division. But once again, is it really because they've earned it the last couple of years, or is it just because that's just the way the cookie crumbled? Somebody had to win it. But Detroit's proven, at least as of right now, early, that last year was not a fluke and that they are a good team. So time will tell. Time will tell where Mr. Ryan ends up. He's a fun pitcher to watch. And as long as he doesn't end up in Dodger blue, which I really don't think is going to happen, or in pinstripes as a Yankee, I really don't care where he goes. But I am a fan. I do like him a lot. And, Tarek Skubal, we already mentioned, like him a lot too. He's not going anywhere. Obviously, the Detroit Tigers are good. He did sign an extension already as well. But we're going to see a lot out of this Angels team over these next 4 games, because I really can't think of too much competitive games they've played over the last 2 weeks, really, other than the game they won that I was at last Thursday, and then the game where they came back on Easter Sunday. There hasn't really been a lot of competition out of these Angels lately. So at some point, by default, this team has to wake up offensively. The pitching has to turn it around. This game that happened today, this final game in Seattle, was competitive for 75% of it. I mean, it was 3-3 until it wasn't. And then things just quickly unraveled. And that's really what it's been. It's been 1, maybe 2 bad innings. It's been a couple of bad pitches with the ball getting away from Logan O'Happy or an error. It's been a bunch of bad luck baseball. It's been a bunch of solo shots. As Todd always likes to joke, the Halo Honks are clapping, the Shia LaBeouf meme. That is one of my favorites that he plays. But, it's just no situational hitting. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position, and it's clearly costing this team. Were we expecting this team to contend? No. Were we hoping for it? Of course we were. We're fans. But as of right now, something's got to give, and something's got to give quick. But we're 25 minutes into this thing. So I think you wanted to share something for us for the week, and then we will go to the hot take and wrap up right after that.
Yeah, of course. We would like to give a shout out to our sponsors. So Halos in the Infield is probably sponsored by Brewheim Brewery. I know it says Noble Ale up there, but nope, it is Brewheim Brewery in Anaheim. Drink local, cheer louder. Come on by. I've already been there a few times. It is a great place. It is a great atmosphere. Everyone is nice. I got a chance to meet the owner. Great man as well. And breweries in general are fun, but Brewheim is really up there for sure. Also, we'd like to thank the OC Dugout, your home for premium sports memorabilia. And there will be some autograph opportunities. So if you get a chance, come on by and see. We had JT Snow not too long ago. I think Zach Neto, Logan O'Hoppy, and Ben Joyce are on the short list. So throw it out there, say Angel fans, and get your opportunity to see them. Also, 714 tickets, to quote good old Todd. I've used 714 tickets, and literally, yes, they are the best deals for Angel games and beyond. I have used 714 tickets in the past. I've used it for concerts. I've used it for hockey games. I've used it for Angel games, and I've used it for football games. So there are a lot of opportunities to be able to use 714 tickets, and also use our code H.I.T.I, that's H-I-T-I, to get 10% off. And it's not just a one-time deal. You can use it as many times as you want from here on out. And last but simply not least, Todd, tell us about Underdog Sportsbook.
Hey Todd, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Underdog app sponsored by Halos in the Infield. Actually, you can punch in H.I.T.I and get the promo code 20% earnings on your first bet via Underdog, the app. And also, they match 50% up to $1,000 winnings if you place bets. You can put them on players. You can put it on teams. It's a nightly thing. It's so easy to play, but also gamble responsibly. All because of Halos in the Infield and Underdog, the app.
Yeah, we want to stress here at this network, please make sure you gamble responsibly. I mean, you know what? It is fun to do a little bit of sports betting if you're doing it responsibly, make the pitches count a little bit more, put you on the edge of your seat a little bit more. But once you throw in your life savings in there and all of a sudden you can't pay your bills, it's not fun. So please, please, please gamble responsibly. We don't want to be responsible or see anybody, lose their livelihood over something that should be fun and, dare I say innocent? I don't know. Certainly not innocent, but you know what I'm saying, Vince.
Yeah, I do.
Vince, do you want to read the hot take, or you got it in front of you? I got it if you don't.
I do. So the hot take of the week. And you mentioned gambling. This is a little bit of a gamble.
A little bit, huh?
Yep, a good transition, boys. So the hot take of the week is Yusei Kikuchi, the big free agent signing we had this past year, will be the best starting pitcher in the month of May. Now, we do know when Yusei Kikuchi signed, he was a lot of expectations, a lot of high expectations, but not a lot of people expected for him to be the opening day starter. There were rumors of Tyler Anderson being the opening day starter. There were rumors of Reed Detmers being the opening day starter. But Yusei Kikuchi stood out amongst all of them, and he had an okay beginning, but then struggled a little bit and gave up some bad pitches that went over the fence against the White Sox on opening day. But there was one thing that I think what caused the struggles for him to have this season so far in April. He only had, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, one home start, because in the start of the season, he had I think 5 starts on the road. He hadn't had the opportunity to pitch in front of his home crowd, not until Easter Sunday against the Giants. And he had a phenomenal outing, and he really kept us in the game, and he really performed. And we saw the Yusei Kikuchi that we know and knew from his time in Seattle to, of course, his time with the Astros at the end of last season after the trade deadline. So there was a little bit of hope in that start. And unfortunately, it came down to a no decision. And I like to highlight as well in that game, he had a phenomenal behind the back catch that turned into a double play. So I had to throw that in there. If you haven't got a chance to see it, just look it up. You want to replay it multiple times, especially the way that Wayne Randazzo and Mark Gubiza reacted to it. It was just, they're broadcasters, but you know what? They were fans for a quick second because that's the natural reaction you have. But I believe that things might change come this May because he's got a few starts under his belt. He got used to the ballpark. Unfortunately, it was only one time in Angel Stadium, but he should have more starts this season at home. And I believe that's what's going to make him a little bit better. And we have a lot of home games this season. I think this month. We start with the Tigers. We got the Blue Jays. We got the Marlins, and we got the Yankees at the end of the month. I think the Yankees are going to be a challenge if he pitches in that series. The Marlins, I don't want to say it's going to be a cakewalk because it's never a cakewalk when you play the Marlins because, at least us, because the last time we played the Marlins, we got swept, and it was Memorial Day weekend.
In all fairness, Vince, is there any team that the Angels have played over the last 10 years that has been much of a cakewalk?
I mean, there was a time that we beat the Dodgers, but that was back in that was before 2019 and before. But
before the pandemic, man, we were it didn't matter how bad we were. Who cares? F the Dodgers, we would beat them. But yeah, those days are gone.
Yeah. So going back to Yusei Kikuchi, he's going to have more opportunities, and he just needs those opportunities, but he also needs the run support. That's what's going to affect him a little bit. If the Angels find if they get Mike Trout's secret stuff, if they get that in their system again, then things can change. So as long as the Angels start hitting a little bit more, Yusei Kikuchi is going to have the best month. And now there's other pitchers. I mean, some argue Tyler Anderson might, because Tyler Anderson was the best pitcher in the month of April. I think he had like 4 quality starts. I think he started the season like 4-0 or 2-0, I forget, but 4 starts, he had an ERA of like 2 or something like that. But now it's a new opportunity, a new hero opportunity, and so far it's going to be Yusei Kikuchi, in my opinion, right now.
Okay, I don't think I have as much in depth as I normally do with these takes. This one, I'm just going to hit you with a no. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, the biggest thing that we've seen when he was in Houston, right after he got traded from the Blue Jays, he was using his slider an awful lot, right? And he had said that the slider and using that as his primary pitch was what was giving him success. Now, he has used his slider a pretty good amount. Listen to some of these numbers. So the fastball, the 4-seamer, has been his number one used pitch at 38%, 38.4 if you want to be specific. Slider, 35.4. Changeup, 15.1. Curveball, 8.7. Sweeper, 1.8. And a sinker, 0.6. So the sinker's a non-factor, really. But he needs to use the slider in a lot more because his slider hasn't really been that bad. The numbers on it are fine. But he's been getting burned by not using the proper pitches in the right situation, right? The pitch selection. I don't know if that's on him. I don't know if that's on Travis d'Arnaud, right? Because he's been using Travis d'Arnaud primarily this season. Now, I didn't put any stock into the fact that he's been pitching on the road an awful lot. You are correct. He has only pitched 1 game in Angel Stadium. And I didn't put any stock into that at all. Now, I would have to look at his career numbers on the road to see if maybe he's a home cooking guy. Some guys just by default like that home cooking. Yes, this is his first year as an Angel, and by default his first month. But some guys just do better in that situation, right, where they sleep in their own bed. Some guys don't. Some people don't care, right? So I would have to do a little bit more research on that. But the reason why I don't think Yusei Kikuchi is going to be the best starter of the month, I think Tyler Anderson's still going to still be that guy. He has been pretty good this year, just like he was the first half of last year, right? I think last year he legitimately earned that all-star nod. I mean, do I think he only got in there because he was an Angel and the Angels needed to send someone to Arlington? Yeah, 100%. That's why he got in. But this year, very, very similar start to what it was last year. So the difference is, hopefully, if he stays hot like this, the Angels might be able to trade him, get something from him, because this is a contract year for Tyler Anderson. But Yusei Kikuchi is an interesting case. I don't hate him. I don't hate what we've seen from him. He's had a decent amount of quality starts. I've already said on this network many times that I hate that stat, but that doesn't change the fact that he's been consistent in that department. He's been giving the Angels 5 or 6 average to above average innings every single time he's going up there. I mean, he hasn't really gotten lit up an awful lot. His last 3 games, here we go. So the most recent one on the 26th against Minnesota, where he had 2 innings pitched and 4 earned runs, is probably the most recent example. But 420, which was Easter Sunday against the Giants, you already alluded to this. 5.1 innings pitched, no earned runs. That was great. He did walk 4. And that was a bit concerning. Also, his last start, those 2 innings against Minnesota, he also walked 4. So we need to keep an eye on his walks. His walks have been astronomical because also 415 in Texas. I was there that day. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, very serviceable. Yes, 2 walks. So 2 walks isn't crazy, but when you're walking 4 guys, back-to-back games, and then 2 before that, that's still a double-digit amount of walks your last 3 starts. So keep your eye on his walk. Now, Yusei Kikuchi is definitely what they call a finesse pitcher. If you're a finesse pitcher, kind of like Tyler Anderson is, you're looking for ground balls. You're looking for weak contact. You're not going to strike out a lot of guys, right? Yusei Kikuchi, he's not the K machine. He's not Daisuke Matsuzaka. He's not going to come out here and chop guys up. He's looking for that soft contact. And because of that, you're going to pinch the gaps a little bit more. You're going to pinch the corners a little bit more. You're going to paint very much like Greg Maddux was. And if that command is just a little off that day, or if your catcher's not maybe doing the best framing, or the home plate umpire is a really, really tight zone, that is going to raise things like walks. So a guy like Yusei Kikuchi is a little more susceptible to that. So these are all varying factors that's really going to determine if your hot take is correct. Because little peek behind the curtain, this was Vince's hot take. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm just saying that this one, I don't really know if I agree with. Now, can I see a world where Yusei Kikuchi is the best starting pitcher for the year? Sure. And at the end of the day, you're paying him to be the best pitcher in the organization, right? In theory, right? He's the highest paid pitcher. He's the A word by default. He is the ace. So speaking of that, the Angels have really been struggling the last couple of days. What's the point of an ace? Stop the bleeding, right? There's a gun wound. Can you at least stop the bleeding a little bit, as much as you can? Because, man, the Angels have more than just a gun wound right now. So can he at least give the offense that's struggling an opportunity to maybe get 1 or 2 runs in, and you were able to only give up 1 run? Hey, the offense scored 2. Great. You know what? You need 1. You need 2 wins to then start building towards getting some momentum, to start building towards these young guys, this young core that we keep talking about, playing meaningful games. Because right now, these games aren't meaningful, but that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I think my thing is that he's getting comfortable is what it is. Because first month, I mean, you're figuring everything out. You're figuring out your stadium. You're figuring out the league. You're figuring out other teams that you have faced. And he hasn't played in the National League. So when he faces National League teams, he's gonna be a little bit off because he's not used to playing at Busch Stadium. He's not used to playing at Dodger Stadium, or maybe he has in the past. But whenever we get those interleague games, that's the only thing he's going to blemish on. But when we play against, like when we go to Toronto, if he's pitching in there, he's used to that because he pitched in Toronto. When we play against Seattle in Seattle, he's used to that stadium too. So he has a little bit of experience in the American League under his belt. But also too, it's the adjustments of who your catcher is. And you mentioned Travis d'Arnaud. I think you do have a point that Travis d'Arnaud might be an effective reason because maybe Logan O'Hoppe has a different strategy. And but he also had, you got to remember, he had Logan O'Hoppe on opening day too, and he struggled a bit. So you have to take that into consideration. And also the other thing that I don't mean to like, I don't mean to throw him under the bus, but it could be the case too. The front office my question is right now, is Logan O'Hoppe and are Logan O'Hoppe and Travis d'Arnaud calling the shots when it comes to the way that Yusei Kikuchi pitches to these hitters? Or is it the dugout? Is it Barry Enright who's calling the shots? Or is it the computers and the analytics calling the shots in the front office?
Is it the beep boops?
Yeah. No, is it the beep boops? Yeah. So I think so now it raises some questions. I've heard some rumors that for some of the reasons behind our struggles is the front office and the analytics are calling the shots, and that's why we haven't played real baseball. I feel like we're playing tech baseball and analytical baseball, which I understand is the new generation of baseball right now. The Dodgers still use it. But
see, they've mastered it. That's the difference.
They've mastered it. That's the difference. Yeah, they've mastered it, and it works for some teams, and sometimes it doesn't. So when Perry came in, there was the talk of, well, he's an analytical GM, and they figured, okay, maybe this is going to work out. Well, it didn't work out because Joe Madden didn't like the analytics, and then Phil Nevin, he did the analytics because whatever Perry said, he did. And that's probably why he wasn't the best manager during his tenure. And now you have Ron Washington, who knows what he does. Is he going analytical? Or is he going old school? I think he's going old school because Ron Washington has a tendency to go old school because he sure as heck didn't do it in Texas. And he didn't also, I mean, he wasn't a manager, but a third base coach with the Braves. And Brian Snitker says he really, really hates analytics. So that raises concerns for me. Are the analytics affecting Yusei Kikuchi, and that's why he's not producing the way that he is? Or maybe he's ditching the analytics and say, you know what, maybe they're saying the front office or Ron Washington saying, Logan, Travis, you call the shots. Or maybe Barry Enright's coming in and saying, hey, listen to me kind of thing. So I think that needs to take into consideration. And once Yusei Kikuchi really gets into that groove, I think he's going to break out of it. That's just me, though. I mean, I'm glad that we have different opinions. Like, that's what makes this talk better. But I just have faith, and that month he's going to wash it away for sure. And I just see it. I just feel something coming right now.
Hey, you know what? And I hope you're right, because you know what? At the end of the day, we're Angels fans, right? I mean, if Yusei Kikuchi being lights out and being the best pitcher in the rotation is good for the team, right? You know, the point of having guys like him and having Tyler Anderson and Kyle Hendricks is to give these young guys in the rotation, in the bullpen, whoever's coming up, right, for a spot start maybe, to give these guys something to look towards, right? Hey, Yusei Kikuchi, I'm not going to say he struggled in the month of April. I certainly wouldn't say that. But he certainly didn't take the world by storm either. But, you know, just, hey, he had an average month of April, right? He was a professional. And then he came out and, man, oh, man, did he turn it on in May. You know what? These young guys look towards that, right? Hey, what's he doing, right? He didn't do that bad in April, but he really turned around in May. So that's what you pay these guys big money for, these veteran major leaguers. So I hope, believe me, I hope that Yusei Kikuchi could do that. I'm pulling for him and I'm cheering for him. And I certainly don't think he's going to have a bad month of May. But I just don't think it's going to be the best in the rotation. Like I said, I think that's going to be Tyler Anderson's. But, hey, maybe that's a different topic for a different week. But I think that's going to do it out of us. I'll let Vince take it away in a second and, of course, plug his social medias. But while I have you here, thank you guys for joining us. It's always great to have you guys here on the Halos and Infield Network. Make sure that you give us a review wherever you get your podcast. Tell your friends. Share the links. Share the streams whenever Todd's doing the post-game shows. Always do that. Follow us on social media. While you're at it, follow Vince as well. He'll give you his handles in a second. but at Halos in Infield on almost every single platform available, and get on the Facebook group as well. On behalf of us here at Halos in Infield, thank you. And Vince, what would you like to say, sir?
Of course, thank you for joining us. And if you get an opportunity to see this Tiger series, Friday especially, not only is it Ben Joyce bobblehead night, I think a lot of people are anticipating that, but Tarek Skubal is the probable pitcher starter for the Tigers. And if you get that opportunity, go do it. Watch him. Who knows when we're going to see him again? I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be next year, but if you have an opportunity to get close to history, do it. And that's usually how it goes. I mean, I'm the same type. Whenever I missed out on Justin Verlander when on Easter Sunday, I could have seen him, but I just really wasn't feeling it that day. But yeah, if you get an opportunity, like I said, go see Tarek Skubal pitch, and hopefully we get a turnaround, but knock on wood, you never know. So we'll see how this weekend goes and from here on out. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Angels_Cowboy. Once again, that's at Angels_Cowboy, where you'll see content, baseball content, Angels content, and more on the way. So until next time, for Fernando, the Lone Star Halo, I'm Vince, the Angels Cowboy. Y'all come back now, you hear?